Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 5. This is going to be a full breakdown and review of the latest episode. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell. Alright, Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 5. This episode, honestly, in comparison to the last one, felt even quicker. And that may have been due to about 10 minutes of the entire episode not even being part of the episode. It was just interviews and different things like that, which, although that's cool, that being included in the runtime is a real shame. And as a fan of the DC Universe, as a fan of Peacemaker, I was just really disappointed by that. Because I wanted something longer rather than something that was even shorter than the previous episode. So that being said, we pick things up at the beginning of this episode. We have the funeral scene for Rick Flag Jr. We see, obviously, Rick Flag Sr. there, kind of introducing himself to Harcourt. They discuss a little bit about what happened. She mentions she is not able to divulge any information regarding who was the one responsible for it. But then she says something really interesting. She says that whoever did it is going to pay. And by that point, she obviously knows who did it. It was Peacemaker. But what's also interesting is these events take place before Peacemaker Season 1. So maybe a lot of the emotions that she's feeling here are the reasons why she was the way she was towards Peacemaker at the beginning parts of Season 1. Now, obviously, as we know, that relationship evolved and grew into what could have been something romantic. Obviously, with Season 2, a lot of that was stalled. But the fact that she really was at least showing as if she had some sort of vendetta against Peacemaker is really interesting. Was she initially only working with him out of obligation, and then she would have turned on him and ultimately did something that did lead to his demise? And then another thing too, obviously, after that, we do go into the present day. We have Harcourt meeting Peacemaker in that public setting, the park, and I find it really interesting how Peacemaker obviously knew that it was a setup. We find out why later. But just the different ways that he's maneuvering through the park shows just how highly skilled and how trained he really is. He's using the kids as cover, the dogs, even his positioning when sitting next to Harcourt was very strategic. And that's all really interesting and just shows us how capable he really is. And this is where they have that conversation on the bench and they get into a little bit about how, yes, she contacted him to set him up, but in actuality, she was trying to warn him. And that's something that we, the viewers, and me personally, I was wrong about. In my last review, I said it seemed like a character regression. However, I was 100% wrong. I'll hold my hands up. I was wrong. And in fact, this seems like a lot of character even growth for her, because instead of choosing just to turn Peacemaker in, she decided to at least warn him in some way. She sends him that code word, but he still showed up. And she's pissed about it, which is understandable because she, in her mind, put her job and her well-being on the line just to warn him, and he just cast that aside. And why did he do that? Because he needed an answer from her. He needed to know about what happened on the boat, if it was really a mistake, if she really regretted it. And this is where we do find out that, yes, she was just intoxicated, and it is something that she does regret. I personally think that deep down, a part of her did want to do it, and that's why the events of the end of the episode happened the way they happened. But at least for now, in Peacemaker's mind, it was just a one-time thing. It was just something that she did mistakenly, and it's something that she does really regret. And we see how much that hurts Peacemaker throughout this episode. And then we do get the agents of Argus confronting Peacemaker. He has that little bit of a standoff. He holds the guy hostage, and then we actually find something really interesting out, and the one, I forget her name, again, there are certain characters in Argus that I just, for whatever reason, cannot remember their names, partially because I don't care about them. We find out she is a cyborg. Bordeaux, that's her name. Bordeaux is a cyborg. She was in some sort of accident that resulted in half of her body being turned into a cyborg. Huh, who does that sound like? Yeah, the character Cyborg. So could this be some sort of a teaser as to the technology that will be used to one day save Victor Stone? Or maybe it's already happened behind the scenes, and maybe that's why when they hinted at a potential Teen Titans movie, this could already be set up for him already being created, and it can tie back into this character of Bordeaux and how she became a cyborg as well. But anyway, she has the killing shot to go against Peacemaker. Harcourt obviously knows about this, so she intervenes, she attacks Peacemaker. Peacemaker is definitely caught off guard by this. Even if he wasn't, I don't know that he would really fight back, because although he's really not on good terms with Harcourt, especially because of what she said regarding the boat incident, I don't think he would try to hurt her. However, we don't really know, because she did really just kick his ass. She takes him down, and she does this to ultimately save his life, because he was going to be fatally wounded by Bordeaux. So this is something that she looked at it as a way to save Peacemaker's life. They then bring Peacemaker into Argus, and Rick Flag tells the other agents, hey, get out of here, turn off the recording information, and they kind of look at him for a little bit. They do comply, and then Rick Flag Sr. kicks the shit out of Peacemaker. Again, Peacemaker is not fighting back. We know how guilty he feels about what he did to Rick Flag. We've seen that in Season 1 and even in parts of Season 2. And he tries apologizing, he tries telling Rick Flag Sr. that he understands his anger and that he deserves whatever is going to happen to him. But Rick Flag does not care at all and just wants to take out his frustration on Peacemaker. It's at this moment that John Economos and Harcourt start talking to each other, and they say Peacemaker needs to be booked. Why is this? Because there needs to be a record of him being arrested and in the care of Argus. That way, if he does disappear or he does get killed, people are going to look into it because there is a record of it. People end up getting pissed at John Economos, except for the one agent who said he has bird blindness. He's actually a character who is I'm starting to like him a little bit more, and I gained a lot of respect for him in this moment, where he told John Economos, hey, you did the right thing by booking him. And you see that he's starting to think Rick Flag Sr. is solely doing this out of a vendetta. It does get revealed a little bit later between Bordeaux and Flag that it was actually part of his plan to make Peacemaker think he was just out for revenge. That way Peacemaker wouldn't suspect someone tailing him back to his hideout to find that door, which, as we know, Judo Master was the one who ended up following Peacemaker, finding that location, and then does report it back to Argus. And while all this is going on, Eagly and the Eagle Hunter are having their own little battle that just turns absolutely absurd. Eagly essentially has a bunch of birds and eagles there, and they attack the Eagle Hunter. Pretty sure he ends up getting killed, and I think it was Eagly who had that mystical power above him. Again, was this just a fun little Easter egg, or is it going to tie into the blue power going into the green and the red? I do know a little bit more about the blue and the red than I do about the blue, I'll be honest. I'm not really familiar with the blue, but basically the red is something that Beast Boy taps into. We saw that explored in the Titans live-action series, where his powers are based around the red. And it's essentially this extra-dimensional power that he taps into and that he can actually travel into. That's pretty much everything around living animals. And then the green is everything with, similar to Poison Ivy, but it's more so with the Man-Thing. And we see that explored in the Batman and Robin animated movie with Harley Quinn, where Man-Thing is kind of the big bad villain in that. So again, are they setting something up where either the red, blue, or green are going to be involved? Maybe one will end up being the big bad. I'm not sure. I'm not too positive. I think if they were going to do that, it would have been set up earlier. I think it's a little too late, at least for Peacemaker. Will they visit that down the line? I personally think yes. But right now, it's too early to tell. And then going on from there, we don't get a ton of Adrian Chase in this episode, which again, I keep saying that is a shame, but the moments we do get are really fun. After they do get Peacemaker back, they get him out of there, he gets released from Argus, just because after booking him, they obviously couldn't turn him in. because of how many wounds he had. And this kind of prompts him to tell everyone about Harcourt, her decision, and how he's done with everything. We see him write that note, and then he goes into the portal and disconnects everything. He's done. And then he leaves behind the note, and Adebayo and Adrian Chase find it. And we see that really sentimental moment, and this actually made me really sad, where in the note, he's addressing pretty much everyone except for Adrian Chase. He didn't say anything about leaving him behind. And we see how much this hurt Adrian Chase. He was bawling his eyes out to Adebayo, and that's because Peacemaker is his best friend, and that's been shown through and through. And that's one thing that I feel like especially this season is really lacking with, and that's the care that Peacemaker has for Adrian Chase. Adrian Chase has been there for Peacemaker no matter what, and no matter how crazy the situation. So I'd really like that in the last 3 episodes, if they explore that relationship a little bit more, and Peacemaker at least acknowledges how much Adrian Chase means to him and how good a friend he is to him. And as we know and we saw in the previews, the 11th Street Kids are back together. Finally, it only took 5 episodes, and they are going to be working towards getting Peacemaker back to our universe, which I'm really excited about. We obviously see Vigilante in his full gear. They have that funny moment where they're in that, it looks like a basement or warehouse, and you see all the cocaine everywhere, and John Economos has that funny line about, can't you just flush everything? Because obviously Adrian Chase isn't using that. It's probably just stuff he confiscated from people he killed. And actually another really funny moment that I did forget to mention was the moment between Adebayo and Adrian Chase where she gets the call about her ad. And the whole time I was thinking this is definitely not for security, just by the way she's talking about it. And then Adrian Chase even says that, and he even says, yeah, when they're talking about Greek, that's mainly a prostitution thing. And he's like, oh yeah, don't worry, I don't kill prostitutes, they have it hard enough. Only John's. And again, it's little moments like these that just make me love Adrian Chase. He's just so hilarious, and I'm excited that episode 6 at least appears to have way more Adrian Chase, and I really want to explore that dynamic of not only him and Peacemaker, but everyone in the 11th Street Kids. They are my favorite characters, and they are why I enjoyed season 1. So going forward, I'm really looking forward to episodes 6, 7, and 8, and I personally think they will be much better than especially these last 2 episodes. But what do all of you think? Do you think the latter half of the season is going to be much better than these previous episodes? Or do you think it'll keep being downhill from here? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.